All right, let's get right into it. We're going to take a look under the hood at what makes a Python project truly scalable. One that can get bigger and more complex, with more people working on it, without turning into a total disaster.
Look, we've all been there, haven't we? You kick off a new project, everything's neat and tidy, but then you add a feature here, a new person joins the team there, and before you know it, it's a giant mess of spaghetti code. You touch one thing, and 10 other things break. So how on earth do you stop that from happening?
Well, the secret, it's all about having a solid blueprint right from the start, a structure that's actually built for growth. And this isn't just about handling more web traffic. It's about creating a system that's designed to change and evolve gracefully.
So when we say scalability, what are we really talking about? Because it's more than just handling more users. We're going to look at it from 4 really important angles: the size of the code itself, the size of your team, the different environments you run it in, and of course, the speed of your development.
These are what I like to call the 4 pillars. First, size. Your architecture has to welcome new code, not fight against it. Second, team. You need clear boundaries so developers aren't constantly stepping on each other's toes. Third, environments. Moving from your laptop to a test server to production should be totally painless. And finally, speed. Nothing kills productivity like slow tests and a complicated setup. That has to be fast and easy.
Okay, so how do we actually do all this? Well, it all starts with one of the simplest but most powerful decisions you can make at the very top level of your project.
And here it is. This is the absolute bedrock of the whole structure. A super clean separation between your application code and your test code. Your app folder is the thing you ship, the product, and the test folder is what makes sure that product actually works. Keeping them separate is just fundamental for clarity, and it makes sure you never accidentally ship your test code to production.
Now let's zoom in a bit and take a tour of that app directory. A great way to think about these subfolders is like they're different departments in a really well-run company. Each one has a very specific job to do.
First up, you've got your /API folder. This is basically your project's reception desk. Its only job is to greet incoming web requests, figure out where they need to go, and then package up the final response. And here's the key. Absolutely no real work or business logic happens here. It's just a thin, clean entry point.
All the real work, all the heavy lifting, happens in the /services folder. This is the workshop, the engine room. This is where you put all the business rules and core logic that makes your application do its thing.
Of course, all that logic needs data to work with, right? And that's where the /database folder comes in. It's the project's filing cabinet. It defines what your data looks like, the schema, and it handles all the connections you need to read and write from your database.
So, how do we make sure that only good, clean data is coming into our API? That's the whole point of the /models folder. Using something like Pydantic, these files act as strict blueprints. They're like data contracts that guarantee any information flowing through your system is formatted correctly every single time.
And finally, every project needs a few tools that are used everywhere. The /core folder is your utility closet. This is where you stick things like your configuration settings or your logging setup. It keeps all that shared stuff in one place so your other folders stay clean and focused.
So just to recap, you've got this beautiful separation of jobs. The API is the reception desk. Services is the workshop. Database is the filing cabinet. And core is the utility closet. Each part has one clear responsibility, and that clarity is exactly what lets the project scale without chaos.
Okay, let's pull the camera back from the application code itself and look at the project's toolbox. These are the config files in the main directory that make the whole thing run consistently, no matter where it is. These files are basically the project's life support. You've got pyproject.toml, which is like the recipe book. It lists all the ingredients or dependencies your project needs. The .env file is for secrets, like database passwords that you definitely don't want to check in to get. And then you have your Docker file and dockercompose.yaml. These two are huge. They let you package and run your app in a container, which means your local setup is an exact copy of production. This kills that whole, well, it works on my machine problem.
All right, so we've laid out all the different pieces of the puzzle. Now let's see how they all snap together by following a single request as it makes its way through our application.
What's so important here is how predictable this flow is. A request comes in and hits the API reception desk. The desk doesn't do any thinking, it just passes the job over to the services workshop. The workshop goes to the database filing cabinet to get what it needs, does all the smart business logic, and then hands a result back to the API. The API then just formats that result and sends it back out to the user. It's like a clean, efficient assembly line.
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? The whole idea is that the web part, the API, is kept as simple as possible. All the important, complex stuff, the business logic, is collected in one single place where it's easy to find, easy to test, and easy to maintain.
So what's the big payoff for all this structure? Well, the clear boundaries make the whole system way easier to understand. It's a breeze to test because you can check your core logic without even needing a web server. It's flexible. You could swap out your entire database and never touch your business rules. And maybe most importantly for a growing team, new developers can jump in and know exactly where to find things, which is a huge win.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question. You don't have to go and rebuild your entire project overnight. But looking at this blueprint, what is the single biggest idea? Maybe it's pulling your business logic out of your API, or just creating a separate test folder. What's that one thing you could start applying to your own code tomorrow?